Hello, my dear friend. Today, I'm excited to share a special story with you. It's a love story, and love stories always have a way of captivating our hearts. This one is about a boy named Alex and his unique connection with two girls, Emma and Lily. It's a simple story, so everyone can follow along, but it's filled with emotions, choices, and moments that can change someone's life forever. This isn't a complicated love triangle, but rather a story of learning how to navigate feelings, respect others, and understand yourself. Now, the story starts with Alex introducing himself, sharing his perspective on love, and how he found himself in this unexpected situation. You'll see the conversations he has with both Emma and Lily, and how each relationship shapes him. It's a gentle, heartwarming tale, perfect for anyone who loves stories about emotions and personal growth. Story. Hi, my name is Alex. I never thought I would find myself in this situation, caught between two wonderful people who both mean so much to me. But here I am, trying to figure out how to handle everything without hurting anyone, including myself. Let me start from the beginning. I met Emma during our last year of school. She was that girl who had this quiet confidence, someone you wouldn't notice right away, but once you did, you couldn't stop thinking about her. We became good friends quickly, and before I knew it, I started feeling something more than friendship. Emma and I shared a lot in common, our love for books, quiet afternoons, and deep conversations about life. It felt natural, comfortable even, like we were meant to find each other. But then, there was Lily. I met her a year later at a mutual friend's party. She was the complete opposite of Emma. Bright, full of energy, and always the center of attention. There was something about her that drew me in, like her energy was contagious. With Lily, I felt alive in a way I hadn't before. We clicked almost instantly, and suddenly, I was spending more and more time with her. You see, I never planned for this to happen. I never wanted to be caught in this confusing situation. But as I got closer to Lily, I couldn't ignore the fact that I still had feelings for Emma. It wasn't just a passing crush, it was something real. So, here I was, feeling torn between these two incredible people, and not sure what to do next. Emma, with her quiet strength, never pushed me to make a decision. She was patient, understanding, and never demanded more than what I was ready to give. We had this connection that was so deep, and I knew she cared about me. But Emma was also someone who valued space and didn't need constant attention, which sometimes made me question if I was enough for her. Lily, on the other hand, was all about the here and now. She loved big, laughed loud, and never hesitated to show how much she cared. Being with her felt like an adventure, like I was always discovering something new. But with Lily, there was always this fear that the excitement might fade, and I wasn't sure what would happen if it did. So, there I was, trying to balance these two parts of my life. I didn't want to hurt either of them, and most of all, I didn't want to make a mistake that I couldn't take back. It wasn't just about choosing between Emma and Lily. It was about figuring out who I was and what I truly wanted. Emma started noticing the time I was spending with Lily. One evening, we were sitting at our favorite cafe, the one with the worn-out couches and old records playing in the background, when she finally asked me, "Alex, are you okay? I feel like you're distant lately." I could hear the worry in her voice, and I hated that I was the cause of it. "I'm fine," I lied. "It's just been a lot to think about." Emma didn't push any further, but I could tell she knew something was off. That's the thing about her. She always knew when something was bothering me, even when I didn't say anything. Then there was Lily. I hadn't told her about Emma, and I felt guilty about it. Every time I saw Lily, the guilt gnawed at me. But she was always so happy to see me, pulling me into her world of fun and excitement. And for a while, I'd forget about everything else. One night, after a particularly fun evening out with Lily, I found myself lying in bed, staring at the ceiling. I couldn't keep doing this. I had to make a choice. I knew that staying in between these two amazing girls wasn't fair to any of us. The next morning, I called Emma. "Can we talk?" I asked, my heart pounding in my chest. "Of course," she said, her voice calm as always. We met at the cafe, and I told her everything about Lily, about my feelings, about how confused I was. It was the hardest conversation I'd ever had. I expected her to be angry or hurt, but instead, she just sat there listening quietly. When I finished, she smiled sadly. "Alex, I appreciate your honesty," she said. "But you need to figure out what you want. Not for me, not for Lily, but for yourself. You deserve to be happy, and so do we." Her words hit me harder than I expected. Emma wasn't just thinking about herself. She was thinking about all of us. And I realized in that moment that she was right. I knew what I had to do. I met with Lily the next day. This conversation wasn't easy either, but it was necessary. I told her about Emma, about the feelings I still had for her, and how I couldn't keep living in this in-between space. To my surprise, Lily didn't get upset. Instead, she gave me a hug and said, "Alex, you need to follow your heart. We had something special, but if your heart is with Emma, then that's where you need to be." And just like that, the decision became clear. It wasn't about who was better or who made me feel more alive. It was about who I could see myself with long-term, building something real and lasting. That person was Emma. I went back to her, ready to commit fully. And as we sat together, holding hands in the same cafe where we'd had so many conversations, I knew I had made the right choice. After that day with Emma, things started to feel different. Not just in our relationship, but inside me too. For the first time in a long while, I felt like I wasn't divided. I made my choice, and it was the right one. Emma was everything I needed, and now that I had decided to be with her fully, I was ready to put in the effort it took to make our relationship work. But of course, life isn't always that simple. Even though Emma had accepted my decision with grace, the reality of the situation still lingered. I could tell there were moments when she was hesitant, as if she didn't fully trust that I had truly moved on from Lily. And honestly, I couldn't blame her. Relationships, after all, are built on trust, and I knew I had tested hers. One evening, a few weeks after I had told Lily the truth, Emma and I were at her place watching a movie. I was distracted, thinking about how everything had played out. Out of nowhere, Emma paused the movie and turned to me. "Alex," she started, her voice soft but firm, "I trust you. I do. But sometimes I can't help but wonder, are you really over her?" Her words caught me off guard, but I knew she needed to hear my answer. "Emma," I said, looking into her eyes, "I made my choice because I know what I want. It's you. And I'm not going to let anything from the past come between us." She nodded, but I could tell it would take time for her to fully believe it. And that's okay. Trust isn't something you can rebuild overnight. I knew I had to show her through my actions that I was in this for the long haul. The next few months were a mix of happiness and small, quiet struggles. Emma and I fell into a comfortable routine. Long walks in the park, lazy Sundays, and dinners at our favorite little Italian place. We spent more time together than ever, and for the most part, things were great. But every once in a while, the shadow of my past with Lily would pop up, usually in small, unexpected ways. Like the time we ran into her at a mutual friend's gathering. I hadn't seen Lily since the day I told her about my decision. I knew it was bound to happen eventually, but I wasn't prepared for the awkwardness that came with it. She was polite, friendly even, but there was a distance between us now, one that wasn't there before. Emma noticed it too. After the party, as we were walking back home, she was quiet for a while. Finally, she said, "That was weird, wasn't it?" "Yeah, it was," I admitted. "Do you think it'll always be like that with her?" "I don't know," I replied honestly, "but I'm hoping with time, things will get easier." We didn't talk much more about it after that, but I could tell Emma was still processing everything. And I couldn't blame her. The truth is, relationships are rarely ever just about two people. There are always outside influences, past relationships, mutual friends, memories that linger, that can complicate things. But through it all, I was committed to making things work with Emma. I loved her. I knew that, without a doubt, and I was willing to face whatever challenges came our way, as long as we were in it together. One evening, as we sat on the porch of her apartment, watching the sunset, Emma turned to me with a small smile. "You know," she said, I've been thinking a lot about us lately, about how far we've come, and how much more we still have to figure out. I smiled back at her. Yeah, me too. But I think I'm ready to fully trust you again, Alex. I know you chose me, and I know that wasn't an easy choice. But I also know that you're here with me, and that's what matters most. Her words warmed my heart in a way I hadn't expected. This wasn't just a declaration of trust. It was a promise. A promise that we were both willing to keep moving forward, together. From that moment on, things felt different between us. There was a new sense of ease in our relationship, a deeper understanding that we were in this for real. The doubts that once lingered began to fade, replaced by a quiet confidence in each other. As for Lily, our paths still crossed from time to time, but the awkwardness lessened with each encounter. Over time, she found someone new, and I was genuinely happy for her. We both moved on in our own ways. Life moved forward, as it always does. Emma and I continued building our life together, one step at a time. There were still challenges, of course: work, family, the usual stuff that life throws at you, but we faced them together, side by side. Looking back, I realized that my journey with Emma and Lily wasn't just about love. It was about learning to make choices, about understanding myself and what I wanted in life. It was about trust and how fragile it can be, but also how strong it can become if you nurture it. Most of all, it was about growth. I grew a lot during that time, and so did Emma. Together, we became stronger, not just as a couple, but as individuals too. Life kept moving forward for me and Emma. We had settled into a rhythm, but as with anything in life, new faces and experiences were waiting just around the corner. Some of these would challenge our relationship in ways I hadn't expected. It started with a new job I got. I'd been working in my old position for a while, and although it paid the bills, it didn't excite me. Then, one day, out of the blue, I got an offer from a company looking for someone with my skills. It was a big opportunity, one that could really change things for me and Emma. The new job came with new responsibilities, new people, and, as it turns out, new challenges. That's where Mia came in. Mia was my co-worker, and from the first day, we clicked. Not in the same way that Emma and I had clicked. There was no romantic spark. But Mia and I shared the same sense of humor, and we quickly became close friends. She was someone I could talk to at work, someone who understood the stress and the pressure we were both under. At first, everything was normal. I would come home and tell Emma about my new job, my new colleagues, and she was happy for me. She was glad I had found something I was passionate about. But as my friendship with Mia grew, I noticed small changes in Emma. She didn't say anything at first, but I could sense it. Her quiet concern, the way she would listen just a little too carefully when I mentioned Mia's name. Then, one evening, as we were having dinner, Emma asked, So you and Mia seem pretty close, huh? I could hear the worry in her voice, and I immediately reassured her. Yeah, we are. But it's nothing like that, Emma. She's just a friend, someone at work who gets what I'm going through. Emma smiled, but I could tell she wasn't fully convinced. I know, Alex. I trust you. But I've been here before, remember? With Lily. And it's hard not to worry. Her words hit me. She wasn't accusing me of anything, but the memory of what had happened with Lily was still fresh in her mind. I knew I had to be careful, not just for Emma's sake, but for the sake of our relationship. So, I made a conscious effort to put boundaries in place with Mia. I didn't want to make the same mistakes I had in the past. I stopped sharing every little detail about her with Emma, and I made sure to prioritize my time with her. But no matter how careful I was, the fact remained. Mia was still a part of my life, and Emma knew it. Then there was Jake. Jake was one of Emma's old friends from college. They had lost touch for a while, but he had recently moved back to the city and reached out to reconnect. I didn't think much of it at first. Emma had friends, just like I did, and I trusted her. But as time went on, I noticed that she was spending more and more time with him. They would go out for coffee or grab lunch together during the week. And while Emma always told me about it, I couldn't help but feel a little uneasy. One Friday night, Emma came home after having dinner with Jake. I could tell she was in a good mood, laughing about some story he had told her. But as she talked, I felt a pang of jealousy. Jake seems like a great guy, I said, trying to keep my tone casual. He is, Emma replied. It's nice catching up with him. He's been through a lot lately, and I'm glad I can be there for him. I nodded, but something inside me didn't sit right. I didn't want to be the jealous boyfriend, especially after everything Emma had put up with when it came to Lily and now Mia. But I couldn't help it. The more time she spent with Jake, the more I worried that maybe, just maybe, she was starting to feel the same kind of confusion I had felt back then. One weekend, Emma and I decided to go out of town for a short getaway, hoping to spend some quality time together. We went hiking, enjoyed nature, and for the first time in a while, it was just us, no distractions. On the second evening, while we were sitting by a campfire, Emma brought up Jake. I've been thinking a lot about us lately, she said, staring into the fire, and about how things change when new people come into our lives. I looked at her, not sure where she was going with this. I love you, Alex, she continued, but I won't lie. Sometimes when I'm with Jake, I wonder what it would have been like if we had dated back in college. We were really close back then, and now that we've reconnected, it's brought back some old feelings. Her honesty stunned me, but I appreciated it. She wasn't telling me she wanted to be with Jake, but the fact that she had these feelings worried me. I could see how she had struggled with her thoughts, much like I had with Lily. I understand, Emma, I said slowly. It's hard when feelings from the past resurface. But just like you stood by me when I was confused about Lily, I'm here for you now." She smiled, and I could see the relief in her eyes. "I know, Alex. I don't want anything to come between us, but I think it's important we talk about these things, rather than bury them." We both sat in silence for a while, letting the crackle of the fire fill the space between us. In that moment, I realized something important. Relationships aren't just about falling in love and being happy all the time. They're about facing challenges, dealing with insecurities, and growing together, even when new people enter the picture. As the days went on, I worked hard to make sure Emma felt secure in our relationship, and she did the same for me. We kept open communication, talking about our concerns, our feelings, and making sure we didn't let outside influences come between us. Mia and I remained friends, but I was mindful of my time with her, making sure it didn't overshadow my relationship with Emma. As for Jake, he and Emma continued to stay in touch, but she made it clear to him where her heart was.